Okay, we'll call this session of City Council to order. Madam Secretary, do we have, Madam Clerk, do we have a roll call?
Councilman Ziprick.
Present.
Councilman Peterson. Present. Councilman Popescu.
Here.
Mayor Protemporary Rigsby.
Here.
Mayor Brower is absent. There is a quorum.
Okay, for this session, our invocation and pledge of allegiance is by Councilman Ziprick.
Our Heavenly Father, thank you for your many blessings to our community. We ask you be with us tonight in this meeting. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any items to be added or deleted?
No, sir.
Thank you. I have one name here for comment during the open session. We'll start with Mr. Dick Wiley.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to ask a couple of questions of both you and Ovi, if possible. Outside of the comments last meeting, a little bit about the development on both the north side and south side of Mission. I think one of the concerns that I'm wondering about personally is the tightness of the homes, closeness of the buildings, and the narrowness of the streets. Outside of that, what objections did both of you have for the development that went in on the south side, and what the conceptual plan was for the north side? Because to me, we got a lot of advantages that came out of that. If that wasn't built by them, because they're good companies, what would come behind it? And this is what I'm wondering, what was wrong with what went in other than those two issues?
My question is, to what degree do we answer questions on topics that are not on the agenda?
Well, under the Brown Act, the council is entitled to give brief responses to questions raised by the public. You're not required to answer questions necessarily, but you may, if you choose, provide information in response to public inquiries.
Okay. Well, I can answer for myself. My concern with the project south of Mission is not actually my concern. I'm just reflecting the concerns that have been expressed to me by citizens. They don't like it from an aesthetic standpoint, and aesthetics are many factorial, many things that go into an aesthetic assessment. But north of Mission Road, what we're looking for is very clearly, at least the densities that we're looking for is very clearly outlined in the general plan that was approved recently. So to me, that explains what's going on. Details are subject to a huge amount of negotiation, and we would sit in probably a quasi-judicial position after the Planning Commission gets a hold of whatever projects come forward. So I'm not really prepared to provide, chapter and verse what I like and don't like. I'd like to see what they come up with and go from there.
Dr. Rigsby expressed the viewpoints perfectly. I concur with everything he said.
The reason I was asking that, I know going to all the meetings that they had and discussions and workshops was, we got we, as the committees had asked for, and it was historical, had asked for historic representation, which we got, especially along Mission Road. The inside was a little different, but we did get a historic look. We got some nice parks out of it that I think went over and above what was required. And this is why I was wondering what was maybe
Are you talking about the projects that were
On the
that
south
were
side right
approved-
now.
Oh, the projects on the south side, yeah.
That are present.
I don't have any personal reaction to it. It's more, I like to reflect what the citizens believe, and the citizens, for whatever reason, don't seem to be very happy with it. And, you know, you'd have to talk to them to get the specifics. Because I'm more of a vessel transmitting the will of the people on this topic. I'm not terribly opinionated on the topic myself.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to bring up something that's not on the agenda? Here's your chance. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to scheduled item number 1. Mr. Gary Coho, Director of Freeway Construction at San Bernardino Associated Governments.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. The main reason I'm here is to announce our public hearing that's going to be held here, and I'll show that at the end of one of the last slides. Again, I'm here to talk about the I-10 Tippecanoe Anderson Interchange project and the status of the project. I know it's a very important project to the city, and I hope I have some good news here for you tonight. As you all know, the problem, as you can picture it here, is the congestion and the delays going through the interchange and the delay at the signals on both Redlands Boulevard on the south and the interchanges on the north. I mean, I should say the intersections on the north. Just one thing I want to mention here, again, we're going through the environmental process still. So the alternative we're showing here has not been selected. That's part of the environmental process, so I can't guarantee anything at this moment. This is the locally preferred alternative, and this is what was presented to you, I think about a year ago when I was here at this council meeting presenting. I'll go through some of the highlights of it. First of all, this westbound off-ramp is going to be eliminated here, and the westbound off-ramp will come up here and swing around and tie in here at Harriman Place. And then for this northbound movement, it'll have a loop on here. And you will still retain this westbound on here for the southbound movement. So again, what this does, it gets rid of this signal here just north of the freeway, which is going to help the operation of the freeway. We're going to widen the eastbound off-ramp. There's going to be an aux line that goes all the way from Tippecanoe, from Waterman, eastbound here, tying into the ramp. So this will be a 2-lane off-ramp. When it comes down to the terminus at Anderson, it'll be a 3-lane terminus. So again, increasing the capacity. And then down, which is not on this map, but down here, you all know at the Redlands Boulevard, at the Anderson, each movement, so the north, south, east, and west all have 3 through lanes and 2 left turn lanes each. And then the city project, which is, I believe, Jarb, I'm not sure where you're at on that project, but to add the...
Start construction this coming Monday.
Do you? All right, congratulations. This northbound right turn lane is also being constructed here to help, and we will be retaining that right turn lane when we do our project. So again, the operation is going to be improved by adding more lanes, making it easier to enter and exit the freeway, and again, we'll eliminate this signal on the north side of the freeway here at these ramps, which is going to help the operations through this whole area. Just to let you know, the current delay for the motorists going through here in peak periods is in excess of 80 seconds. When we complete this project and open it to traffic in 2013, that delay will be less than 30 seconds. And in 2035, we're projecting that delay to be less than 45 seconds. Just where we are right now, and we've made significant... Over 80 seconds.
Is that at peak hours or is that average over the day?
That's peak period, yes, yes. Where we are right now, what we've done here since the last time I met you, we got the geometric approval drawings. That's the configuration I just showed you. Caltrans has approved it. FHWA has approved it. We got the design exception fact sheets, because of course every time when you retrofit these, you don't get everything up to current standard. That's been approved. The traffic study has been approved. The draft project report has been approved. And a draft environmental document has been approved, which is the big one. So we completed environmental studies, and we got approval to circulate the draft environmental document. And that approval, I believe, happened on October 21st. So it's on the streets right now, receiving comments. We've entered into a co-op agreement with Caltrans for the design, and we've actually awarded the consultant contract for design. And what we will do, once we get through the public hearing, see what type of comments we receive from the public, make sure we don't have any major oppositions, we're going to start risk designing this project. So we'll be designing this project before we actually have the final environmental clearance, just to speed this project up. What's next? The public hearing, which I'll show you the dates here in a minute. We had to finalize the environmental document and the project report. After receiving the public comments, you've got to incorporate those into the document. Begin with the final design, which I just talked about, and we are just in the final straws of negotiating a contract with Caltrans to do the right-of-way acquisition. And what we'd like to do to get this done here within the next couple of months, so we can go out there and use, it's got to be local money, measure money, go out there and purchase some of those properties that are currently empty. And one that's really got our interest is the old Wendy's. We want to get that purchased before somebody moves in there, because it saves us a few $100,000 trying to relocate a business out of there. This is the latest cost information. $79 million, that's escalated to the construction year, and includes all support costs, what we've spent so far, and of that 33 million is right away, as you can see, and about 33 million for construction. We have not used the lowest cost we're receiving right now. Right now we're getting bids that are coming in 40 to 50%, but that could change at any moment. Right now contractors are very hungry. When we go out in 2012, we don't want to be that optimistic that we're going to get those same bids, so these costs we're hoping will come in even lower than what we're showing here. Project schedule. Say we got recirculated environmental document. We hope to have it approved by Caltrans spring of 2010, complete the design and advertise for construction fall of 2011, and then 2012, early 2012, and that would be right at the start of 2012, be going to construction and have this project completed by the mid to the end of 2013. And the public hearing I talked about is going to be again November 5th, 5:30 to 7:30 at Victoria Elementary School over in Richardson Street in San Bernardino. You're all invited. It's going to be an informal type public hearing, so there won't be any formal presentations. But the public will be able to come in, look at the displays, talk to the staff about the project, and then if they have comments, we will have a court reporter there to take their comments. And that's my short and brief presentation to you. I'll take any questions.
Floyd. Just a brief question, just out of curiosity. Just ballpark figure. How long is it going to take to get an approved environmental impact document, and how much does that document cost us? Ballpark.
I'm just trying to think. Again, we, as you know, we went through a lot of iterations to get where we were, and I can only think about the glass contract we just awarded. And I believe to get where we are, since we kind of started over here again, you all know what I'm talking about, I think it was right around $1 million to do the preliminary engineering and the environmental document. And there's a lot of preliminary engineering that goes into this to get to this point. We're about 35% designed right now.
If you were making a guesstimate as to when the ribbon cutting will occur, what would be your best guess?
I would guess about, I would say early fall 2013. We will have a ribbon cutting ceremony out there. This project, I mean, we got a great team on this project. This thing has moved. And I'll just mention to a couple of council members here that we really changed our team 8 months ago, and we've made this progress in 8 months. We got a team that's pulling very well together, including Caltrans staff and the consultant staff. Okay, well, if you can give me an extra month, I'll take it.
And I have a question, just a general comment. I wanted to commend you for making such great progress. I can recall it was almost a year ago. Soon after I got on the council, that was one of my biggest pet peeves about this particular project taking so long. And I remember we had a meeting with yourself and your boss, Deborah Barmack.
Yes.
Barmack. And Dusty was there, and our former manager, Dennis, and you had told us that, yes, you were frustrated with the progress, and you had made some decisions about how we can speed it up. And I remember you gave us a timeline as to how long it was going to take to get this next step. And surprise, surprise, we've actually far exceeded that. So I really want to commend your staff and yourself specifically for really listening to us and making sure that we move forward on this. And I want to really commend Dr. Rigsby, because he sits on the sandbag board and he has been keeping me up abreast of what's been happening. And I remember many times he's told me that, Gary, go hose on this thing, like he wants to get this done like no other project. He's really focused on this. And I think this presentation is definitely a testament to the hard work you guys have been putting over there, and I commend you for that. And I hope that this continues and we can get this process done as quickly as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much for the comment. Again, I mean, this has been a team effort. I mean, we got the environmental document, we're getting ready to circulate, and we still had some issues as far as the document itself. I mean, Caltrans sat down with us for a whole day. We worked that thing on the computer in the room. I mean, I wasn't there personally, my staff was there, but worked it out. I mean, that's just the commitment we got on this project. And we're planning on delivering this thing and have it open by 2013.
Yeah, and you're managing all the projects for the entire county as well. So that's,
Everything down in the valley,
yeah,
for the most part. We've got a couple up in the high desert, but not many.
it's not like this is your only task. So
No.
we're getting pretty good service.
And I would also add that obviously there's been brought some attention to the fact that it's progressing. We've actually had a number of developers who have actually shown interest in trying to do more at the intersection, knowing that things are going to improve soon. And hopefully everything will be timed that when the intersection gets done, we'll get some great new developments at some of those corners as well. So it's paying off already.
That's
I
good.
appreciate it.
Good.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would you like to come forward?
Doug Goodman with Goodman and Associates. I'm just curious about the funding, if this project is funded, and what the match is for the city that you guys have to be prepared to contribute.
Well, we actually asked him that question right before, so we have the answer. He said that the funding is something that he can't guarantee right now, but he's working hard to get the money within Sandbag to do it. The local match is $4 million roughly, and that's San Bernardino and Loma Linda combined, and I don't know the split between the two cities. It's 50-50, so it's about $2 million for us. That'll be the best $2 million we ever spent. We're leveraging it to get the $72 million project. So. Okay, that's enough for that item. We'll move on to the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on those items? Seeing none, is there any objection? Seeing none, it's approved. Are there any reports of councilmen?
Somebody just needs to mention, I think, in public, I see it out there, the Christmas tree lighting is on the 4th of December, is it? It was on the sign already today.
December 5.
December 5, was it?
That's what the sign said.
Was that what it said?
Yeah.
So
It's,
there will be a Christmas tree lighting, and so just so the public knows what's going on.
yeah, it's a month and a half off. Go ahead.
Yep. With the opening of the Centennial Center, which is obviously the ribbon cutting's tomorrow, a couple of questions have come up as to the status of the crosswalk for the students, and so I thought I should pass that on to the city manager to see where that is.
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, I just talked to Ken Breyer, who's here this morning. You want to come up? Okay. What we're doing, what's Ken doing, is we try to come up with a schedule and when the signal will be installed.
Great.
So from what he told me, he already have the pole, the hardware is already here. We just need to get the contractor to install it.
Fantastic. Thanks. Anybody watching? That's the answer.
Actually, just on that subject, my office looks right out over that crosswalk. Of course, I've been very interested to see what's going to happen to the traffic once the other one was closed and this is open and so on. I got to say that I am stunned, for some reason or other, at the few people who go across there. With the new building there and the freshman medical students all being in that building, it's almost a rarity to see anybody cross the street there. Far more people cross the street at the west end yet. And I think that the shuttle plus the so on has a lot to do with that. But I notice that there's probably twice as many people crossing the street at the west end, because they park down there and they just walk right up the sidewalk all the way up to the basic science building or something. That's where most of the people go.
You know, a question I guess we should ask if you're up there Is the event tomorrow open to the public if people would like to go to the ribbon cutting?
I presume so. There was an invited group, but
Okay.
I think community people are going to be welcome. You said something I figured I should respond to. First of all, the crosswalk equipment was purchased as a part of the project, as was the service to install it. At the time of the construction contract it was in. When we came here last summer to talk about a bridge, we had already removed it in anticipation because we had redesigned the street and we didn't need that crosswalk in that design. So the equipment's in the warehouse. The dilemma has been, now since it's out of our contract, we now have to reinsert it in someone's contract to get the work done. We've observed exactly what Floyd's observed. We thought people were going to walk the middle of the street. In fact, they're walking down at campus in Stewart. And so now the question has become, should we be putting a crosswalk at Stewart rather than at the mid-block? And of course, some of that will change as we get the construction trailers out of there. But that's the discussion, and that's why I asked Jarb for a couple of weeks, because everyone's got a different opinion whether this is the right next step. And if we were to decide something else, we might come back with an alternative to you. And that's why I can't go further than that right now.
Yeah, sometimes the best designed campuses have no sidewalks, and they just put the sidewalks where all the trails are. Any other reports of councilmen? Any reports of officers? Seeing none, dare I say it, we're adjourned. Now we'll move to the redevelopment agency. We've already done the roll call. Are there any items to be added or deleted? No adds or deletes. And is there anybody in the public that would like to comment on any non-agenda items on the redevelopment agency agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to our scheduled items, the minutes of October 13.
Second.
Any discussion? Is there any opposition? Seeing none, it's approved. Item number 2, request from Aurora's Coffee and Tea to participate in the storefront rebate program.
Move it.
Any discussion? Is there any opposition? Seeing none, it's approved. We are adjourned. Thank you all.